This is a historic meeting. Never before, outside of Islamabad.
It's a great day. A day which is going to promote peace and prosperity.
Well, first round of the highly anticipated talks between the US and Iran have concluded in Switzerland. Direct talks between both sides lasted for 80 minutes, and delegations from Qatar and Pakistan were also present at the negotiating table. According to Iranian media, the nuclear issue was not discussed at all. Instead, Clause 13 of Islamabad Memorandum remained a key point of discussion during the first round. The article focuses on 5 major points. First up is permanent end of war on all fronts, including in Lebanon. Removal of US naval blockade, safe and toll-free passage to the Strait of Hormuz, waivers for the export of Iranian crude oil, and release of Iranian frozen funds. Soon after the first round, Iranian delegation moved for a bilateral talks with the Qatar delegation. What progress both sides made still remains to be seen, but US President Donald Trump is already raising the stakes. Trump dropped a fresh threat against Iran just as both sides began negotiations in Switzerland. Trump said Iran must stop what he called highly paid proxies in Lebanon from causing trouble. Otherwise, he threatened to strike Iran harder. Now, Trump's warning comes after Iran drew a red line for the United States. Tehran said the negotiations for final deal will not start without end of the war in Lebanon. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian held the stance on nuclear front. He said Iran will not relinquish its right to enrich uranium.
Make it.
Before heading into the meeting, US Vice President J.D. Vance struck a conciliatory note. Vance said that Donald Trump has asked US delegation to turn over a new leaf to transform United States relationship with the people of Iran. He also added that Trump is committed to see a full regional ceasefire.
This is a historic meeting. Never before, outside of Islamabad and here, so outside the last few months, never before has the Iranian and American leadership met at such a high level. What the president has asked us to do is turn over a new leaf, to transform our relationship with the people of Iran.
Now, Lebanon continues to be a major point of contention. Israel is firm on its operations against Hezbollah, while Iran has refused to finalize a deal without peace in Lebanon. And Donald Trump is now putting the blame of Lebanon impasse on Hezbollah. Amid the back and forth, Israel has refused to withdraw its forces from Lebanon. Benjamin Netanyahu reiterated his stance. He said IDF will remain in the security zone in southern Lebanon for as long as it's necessary. With Iran and Israel at odds on Lebanon, Donald Trump finds himself in the middle of Netanyahu's insistence on operational autonomy and Iran's insistence of total peace. Well, earlier we had spoken to some experts on this, and this is what they had to share with us. Listen in.
So I think at the very least, we hope that they can confirm a long-term, indeed an indefinite ceasefire, but we remain to see if that ceasefire will cover Israel's attacks on Lebanon as well as the U.S. and Israeli attacks on Iran. Beyond that, we need to be honest here that the terms of these discussions are very much been set by the Iranians. They are getting a lot of what they want, not just in terms of surviving this war, but getting political advantage out of it. That includes getting management over the Strait of Hormuz as they reopen it. In return for reopening it, we're talking about potentially hundreds of billions of dollars they'll receive from the lifting of U.S. sanctions, from unfreezing of assets, and from investment and reconstruction fund. They've succeeded in deferring the nuclear issue to a later stage in the talks, and in doing so to maintain a civilian nuclear enrichment program, albeit at a lower level. And of course, they are able to.
The thing about the United States is we're kind of like a mythological creature with 10,000 eyeballs because we have so many different interests. So I think that, what my counsel to Vice President Vance would be to say, look, when you get to Geneva, if these guys say Lebanon has to be at the forefront, fine. Start off by saying all discussion of lifting sanctions has solely been about the nuclear issue and free passage of neutral ships through the Strait of Hormuz. So sanction relief is now off the table. The reciprocal blockade on Iran, that is back in force. The Iranian ships that have left, their funds, their cargo will be impounded and frozen like other Iranian assets. Now let's talk about what you're going to do to get Hezbollah to disarm itself. And we can talk about what we can do to try to get Israel from stopping action. If that's what you want to do, then perhaps the negotiations could shift that way. But Iran won't do that. At the end of the day, the Iranian nation has decided the economic pressure from the blockade is too great. So eventually, Iran will do something to get that blockade lifted.